Welcome to the Power of Offense with Keith and Rodney, and I'm your host, Keith, and right below me on your screen is your host, Rodney.
Greetings, peace to the gods.
Today, we're going to discuss this notorious situation that happened where a 9-year-old girl was pepper sprayed in the back of a police cruiser in Rochester, New York. But before we get to that, here at the Power of Offense, we entertain you with legal commentary from a layman's point of view. All right. Now let's get started on this. I think the best way to start this, Rodney, is for us to actually view the footage of what took place. All right.
Yeah. Can you blow that joint up so you can see the whole video, or do you think that'll mess it up?
No.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Here we go.
Here, let's go have a seat.
No! I want my dad!
I'm not gonna run off.
I want my dad! I want my dad! No!
Stop. Don't kick us, dear.
My mom pregnant! Yes, please just
Stop.
let me go. I want my dad!
Stop, dear.
I want my dad! I want my dad! I want my dad! Wait, can I just please get the snow off of me?
I'll get the snow off.
It is cold!
Get in the car. You had your chance. Get in the car now. Okay.
Please help somebody! No!
You want me to grab it from the other side?
I want my dad! Stop!
Sit up.
Stop!
Sit up.
No!
You're acting like a
I
child.
want to
Stop.
cry. I am a child. I want my
This is your last chance, otherwise pepper spray's going in your eyeballs. Come on, let's go. I will get your dad.
No, you said that you were gonna pepper spray me. No, please, no, stop! Sit back. Oh, I got a bad arm.
Just spray her.
I do not know I have
Just
a bad
spray her at this
arm.
point.
Stop! Stop!
Dear.
Stop!
I got her. I got her.
Please wipe my eye! Wipe my eye, please!
Unbelievable.
All right. Now I'm thinking, Rodney, to play this again. Let's play this again so we can take another look at what just took place. All right.
Yeah.
Make sure we took everything in.
Here, let's go have a seat.
No! I want my dad!
I'm not gonna run off.
I want my dad! I want my dad! No!
Stop. Don't kick us, dear.
My mom pregnant! Yes, please just
Stop.
let me go. I want my dad!
Stop, dear.
I want my dad! I want my dad! I want my dad! Wait, can I just please get the snow off of me?
I'll get the snow off.
It is cold!
In the car. You had your chance. Get in the car now. Okay.
Please help somebody! No!
You want me to grab it from the other side?
I want my dad! Stop!
Sit up.
Stop!
Sit up.
No!
You're acting like a
I
child.
want to
Stop.
cry. I am a child. I want my
This is your last chance, otherwise pepper spray's going in your eyeballs. Come on, let's go. I will get your dad.
No, you said that you were gonna pepper spray me. No, please, no, stop! Sit back. Oh, I got a bad arm.
Just spray
I
her.
do not know I have
Just
a bad
spray her at this
arm.
point.
Stop! Stop!
Dear.
Stop!
I got her. I got her.
Please wipe my eye! Wipe my eye, please!
Unbelievable.
So what do you think, Rodney, based upon what you just saw?
What I think was the girl black,
Yes, she was black.
and it was four white officers.
It looked like it may have been a total of like 6. It was quite a few of them out there.
But they were white.
Yes.
Yes. So, what did the story disclose? Why she was placed under arrest?
Yes, and matter of fact, I have an article on that. Maybe we should read the article and then take another look at the video just to lay out the entire story. You know what I mean?
Right. So the article is based on whose position? The Rochester police position or the girl and her family position?
I would say
as far as what happened and why it got to this point.
I would say that is neutral more than anything.
How would it be neutral if the person who wrote it wasn't there? So they had to get their facts from somewhere. Which side did the person that wrote the article get their facts from?
Let's check it out. Let's see. All right, right here. And now this article is from USA Today. It says mother of 9-year-old girl pepper sprayed by Rochester police intends to sue city. All right, so it's talking about she's intending to sue the actual city behind what happened. Now it says the mother of the 9-year-old girl who was handcuffed and pepper sprayed by a Rochester, New York police officer on January the 29th filed a notice of claim against the city and police department Tuesday. This means the mother is intending to sue based on an alleged violation of her daughter's constitutional rights and as a result of the infliction of emotional distress, assault, battery, excessive force, false arrest, false imprisonment, and any other claims that day. So that was in quotes right there. It says the woman originally called 911 due to a vehicle dispute. At her home, the notice of claim stated, after police arrived, her daughter ran outside and the mother requested the help of the officers because the daughter was upset about her mother and stepfather arguing, the claim said. According to police, the daughter was threatening to harm herself and her mother. The Rochester Democrat and Chronicle, part of the US Today network, is not publishing the name of the mother to protect the identity of the 9-year-old child. The mother informed the officers her daughter should be given some mental health assistance, the claim said. In total, the city released 16 minutes of redacted footage. And then it says alternatives. A 9-year-old girl was pepper sprayed by police, which should have happened instead. In an attempt to subdue and calm the child, officers took her to the ground, handcuffed her, and put her in the back of a police vehicle. When the child refused to put her feet inside the car, an officer sprayed an irritant, which was pepper spray, in her face. The mother claimed her daughter was forcibly handcuffed. She said her daughter was hurt as officers pulled her arm behind her back. One officer said she was going to pepper spray the child but dropped the canister in the snow before doing so, the claim said. Another officer did pepper spray the child. The girl was detained under the state's mental hygiene law. She was taken to the Rochester General Hospital, treated, and then released to the custody of her mother. Police never told the mother that the child was pepper sprayed or that they struggled with the child, handcuffed her, and arrested her, the claim alleged. Attorneys for the mother said police officers acted in a wanton, reckless, and malicious manner. The daughter has suffered mental anguish and psychological trauma from the incident, the claim said. And then, let me see. Sorry about that, y'all. Somehow. All right, here we go. The claim said, in its initial press release, police said the officer was required to use pepper spray in this incident. But when asked about policies dictating a situation like this, the department spokesman wouldn't comment on procedures and directed media to consult with the department's general orders. The general orders do not offer guidelines for restraining or using chemical agents like pepper spray on juveniles, but the Rochester Police Department General Order 335, signed into effect on January the 8th, does have guidelines for what officers are required to do if they have used a chemical agent on a restrained subject, including checking if they need medical attention. Mike Mazzio, the president of the Rochester Police Locust Club, the union representing uniformed police officers, said that officers acted appropriately at the scene. Mayor Lovely Warren said Monday that the officers involved should be suspended. The department suspended one officer with pay and put 2 others on administrative leave. The officers' names have not been released. Many in the area have expressed outrage over the incident, especially coming on the heels of the death of Daniel Prude in March 2020 while in police custody. Activists and concerned community members marched Monday to a police substation in Rochester. They voiced their displeasures, called for the firing and prosecution of the officers involved, and demanded systemic changes within the police department. So this is what the article is saying. Now, in my opinion, the article is neutral. That's why I was saying it's neutral. I don't feel like the reporter in this particular article was taking sides. He was just reporting the facts of between what was stated in the claim by the family and what police officers were saying. Do you see what I'm saying, Rodney?
Right.
Now, I think this will be a good time for us to watch the video again, so we can absorb as much information as possible about what took place. All right.
Here, let's go have a seat.
No, I want my dad.
You're not gonna run off.
I want my dad. I want my dad. No.
Stop. Take us here.
My mom's pregnant.
Let me stop right there, because I heard this earlier when we was just listening, but it almost sounded like the girl said, "I'm pregnant," or "My mom is pregnant." It's not totally clear, but the young lady did, or shall I say the girl, she's not a young lady, the girl did say something to that degree. I'm gonna go back a little bit to see whether you hear what I'm hearing.
My mom's pregnant. Yes, please.
Stop.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, she said my mom pregnant.
Okay, that's what she said. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go back again. Let's keep going.
My mom's pregnant. Yes, please.
Stop.
I want my dad.
Stop. Here.
I want my dad. I want my dad. I want my dad. Wait, can I just please get the snow off of me?
I'll get the snow off you.
It is cold.
The car.
You had your chance.
Get in the car now.
Okay.
Please help somebody. No.
You want me to grab it from the other side?
I want my dad. Stop.
Sit up.
Stop.
Sit up.
No.
You're acting like a
I
child.
want to
Stop.
cry. I'm a child. I want my
This is your last chance, otherwise pepper spray's going in your eyeballs. Come on, let's go. I will get your dad.
No, you said that you were gonna pepper spray me. No, please no.
Now, I did hear the girl right there. Matter of fact, I heard the officer say that you're acting like a child. And the girl was like, "I am a child." And then she cursed, right? Now, I agree with her. She is a child. You know, the officers should have automatically recognized that he's dealing with a child. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't feel like a 9-year-old child is supposed to be cursing like that.
Well, I cursed at 9, so that's no excuse for them to act that way. But go ahead.
All right.
Most of us, how many people don't have them? Do you recall cursing at 9? I recall cursing younger than 9. So cursing is a reflection of your parents' language.
That's very true. And I did curse at 9. However, I didn't curse at adults. You know what I'm saying? I cursed at my peers. Now,
Right.
I'm not making excuses for what happened, because again, I do agree with the girl. She is a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I ain't say you acting like a child. I mean, she is a child.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
That shouldn't even be said. And then the police officers threaten her. Do it again, or I'm gonna pepper spray. That's a threat.
Right.
But go ahead.
All right.
This is your last chance, otherwise pepper spray's going in your eyeballs. Come on, let's go. I will get your dad.
No, you said that you were gonna pepper spray me. No, please no. Stop. Oh, I got a bad one.
Just spray her.
No, I have
Just
a bad
spray her at this
one.
point.
Stop. Stop.
Here.
Stop!
I got her.
I got her. Please wipe my eye! Wipe my eye, please!
Unbelievable.
Yeah, see, it's about, I would say about 6 officers out there. Now, I have another video I want to play real quick. And this video has her mom in there speaking out about the incident.
That's after the fact, or is that after the fact?
Yeah, this is after the fact. And then I want to lay out more about my opinion of this. You know what I'm saying? I want to, you know what I'm saying, right? For us to discuss our opinion concerning this. All right, here's the video with her mom speaking out about the incident.
Get in the car.
An emotional confrontation. Rochester police responding to a report of family trouble.
She's got multicolored pants and a black hoodie. And mom's saying she's making suicidal statements.
Officers trying to convince a 9-year-old girl to get into a police car. An officer eventually gives the girl, already handcuffed, a warning before using pepper spray.
Sit back. Come on. This is your last chance, otherwise pepper spray's going in your eyeballs. Come on.
I got her. I got her.
Please wipe my eye!
Tonight, the girl's mother saying she will sue the city of Rochester and its police department.
I trusted the Rochester Police Department to do what they needed to do to help my daughter, not to abuse her or hurt her at all.
Here, just stop for a second.
I want my dad!
The police union says the girl resisted and kicked one of the officers and that they did not harm her when she would not comply. Authorities have said the girl had threatened to take her own life and harm her mother.
No one who would treat a 9-year-old child like that should be in law enforcement to help anyone.
City officials already have said the officers' actions were not appropriate. At least 3 have been disciplined. Now a lawsuit by a family claiming police used excessive force against their little girl. Ron Allen, NBC News.
No matter.
All right, let's stop it right there. Now, what are your thoughts about it, Rodney? Or do you want to watch it again?
I don't want to watch it again. I've seen enough. You don't have to watch it anymore. You just have to just lay the facts out and say and like who's right and who's wrong,
right,
in this matter. So to me, it doesn't matter about law in the sense what they're talking about, because when you're dealing with, like, the officer said that the mother said that the child said that she was going to hurt herself and the mother. That's like hearsay in the 3rd degree.
Right.
So we didn't hear the mother say that the daughter said she was going to harm her or her mother. You didn't hear the daughter say that she was going to harm her or her mother. You heard the daughter say that she wanted her father. I'm not sure if it was the stepfather she wanted or her natural father.
Right.
Because the article stated, if I remember correctly, that it was an argument between her mother and her stepfather. So that's what may have started her conduct. So with that being said, you know, it's gonna have to play out whether or not her rights, the little girl's right protected under the Constitution, was violated, and which is cruel, unusual punishment, excessive force, and everything else that the 4th and 5th Amendment protects.
Right. Now let me say this. Me personally, right, I do find the video disturbing. I find it disturbing how the officers handled the matter, especially knowing that they have what is called selective enforcement. You know what I mean? They have discretion in how they handle situations. And in most cases, it's a broad discretion, right? Now, what I will say in the officer's defense is that they did use what they consider to be non-lethal force. Pepper spray is considered to be non-lethal force. You know what I mean? But there is different ways that they could have possibly, or they could have handled this girl. example, like my wife said, because my wife and I got in a heated debate about this, and my wife was like, instead of just telling the girl to put your feet in the car, like the officer that was on the other side of the car could have grabbed her arm and just pulled her in the car. So pepper spray didn't have to be used. And I got to agree with her on that. I mean, that was a good point when she said that. That's something that the officers could have done to prevent using pepper spray on a 9-year-old girl. But what I am going to say also is that according to, in a matter of law, right? Now, to me, this is a matter of law. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the police, their actions towards the community, everything is governed by the law, right? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. This applies to us. This applies to them. This applies to all parties involved, right? Now, under the law, right, in a situation like this, where a person is handcuffed, they do have the ability to use what they consider to be non-lethal force. They do. And pepper spray is considered that. And I actually have a case. Matter of fact, I have a case that I would like to read to prove what I'm saying. Now, I'm not justifying the police officer's actions. I'm not doing that. I don't want nobody to confuse what I'm saying. This is why my wife and I got into a heated debate about this. I'm not. But what I am saying is that I don't believe that her mother is going to win her suit as far as a violation of the girl's constitutional rights. I don't. And the reason I'm saying is because the precedent that already exists. So I'm gonna read this, Rodney. I know you haven't seen it. I'm gonna read this, okay?
All right.
Now, first I want to deal with the fact that in New York, right, I found this, and I think this is important for us to start with this right here. Hold up, let me see something real quick. I want to make this a little larger for our viewers. All right. I think this is a good place to start. Now, this is put out by New York court system, right? And this is their government website, New York State Unified Court System, right? It says crimes committed by children between 7 and 18. It says starting at age 7, children can be brought to court if they are accused of committing a crime. Whether the case is handled and how the child is treated depends on a number of factors, including the child's age, intent, and past record. Youth who are accused of committing crimes fall into 3 categories. It says juvenile delinquents, juvenile offender, and adolescent offender. Now, juvenile delinquents, right? It says a juvenile delinquent is a child over age 7. I'm trying to highlight it. So we know that this girl is 9 years old. So she's over the age 7, but under age 18. Right? And it says who commits an act that would be a crime if it had been committed by an adult. So I want to stop right there. Now, the police was called for a family dispute, whatever that is supposed to mean. Now, the mother, from what I got from what was being said, she was saying that she called because the girl was having a mental episode, right? But the police are saying that they were told that the police said that they were told that the girl was suicidal and threatening to not just harm herself, but also to harm her mother. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as what was really said, we don't know yet until all the facts come out. So to me, that's a gray area, but for the police officers, they're saying that some type of crime happened, and we know that a threat by an adult would be considered a crime, is the point I'm trying to make. So they're treating the girl, the 9-year-old girl, as if she committed a crime, and the crime would be the threat of not just harming herself, but harming her mother and potentially other family members. That's the point I'm trying to raise, okay? Now, let's go to this case. Now, I have a case from the New York Court of Claims, and this case is from 1998. It's Pacino versus the state of New York. All right, so this is in the Court of Claims. This is the same court where her mom is going to have to file her case. Now, the case isn't that long. I'm going to read the entire case so that we can frame this. Now it says claimant, right, which would be Pacino, contends that a state trooper used excessive force when on February the 23rd of 1994, the trooper sprayed him with pepper spray during an incident that occurred following his arrest for driving while intoxicated in the village of Keysville, Clinton County. It says issues of first impressions are implicated since no report decision in this jurisdiction has addressed the use of pepper spray by police officers. Now, the claimant, who was 37 years old, right? Now, this is an adult male, right? He's 6 feet 3 inches in height and weighed approximately 185 pounds on the date of his arrest, right? So we do want to acknowledge that this case is talking about an adult male, right? Not a child. All right. But this is what it says. It says he testified that after he finished work about 9 p.m., he went to a local bowling alley, consumed 5 or 6 bottles of beer in an hour, and then walked to his home in the village of Keysville, Clinton County. Thereafter, while driving his automobile, he was stopped by Trooper Michael McIntosh and Charles Dutko for failing to use a signal light while turning. Upon questioning by the troopers, claimant admitted that he had consumed alcohol earlier. After conducting a field sobriety test, the troopers arrested claimant and transported him to the police substation in Keysville for a breathalyzer test. Although claimant insisted that he had not been handcuffed before being driven to the substation, Trooper McIntosh testified that claimant had indeed been handcuffed. Claimant was not abusive in any manner before he entered the substation. Trooper McIntosh testified that the handcuffs were removed at the substation and claimant was permitted to telephone his mother, Esther Neverett. Now, upon discovering that a breathalyzer device was not available at the substation, the trooper decided to transport claimant to the Plattsburgh State Police Barracks for a breathalyzer test. Trooper McIntosh related that as he, Trooper Dutko, and claimant were exiting the substation, claimant, upon seeing his mother, kicked the door of the substation and became agitated. Now, claimant's mother, right, she recalled that the troopers and her son were preparing to leave the substation as she arrived, and that one of the troopers advised her that the breathalyzer was out of order. Now, that's in quotes, right? Now, the footnote. Now, the footnote, okay, these are quotations from the court trial notes. All right. Now, it says, as the troopers were preparing to place claimant in the troop car, Trooper McIntosh advised claimant that he had to be handcuffed. Thereupon, claimant thrust his hands into his pockets, and according to Mrs. Neverett, which is the claimant's mother, swore when he was asked to take his hands out of his pocket, right? She further testified that her son refused to remove his hands from his pocket and stated, why the F, right? Or why the fuck do I have to take my hands out of my pockets? That's what she stated, right? Now, she stated that when she told claimant to remove his hands from his pockets, and he said that he would not do so. Claimant also told the trooper to open the fucking door. All right. So this is what took place. Now it says claimant admitted that one of the troopers told him that he had to be handcuffed for the transportation to the Plattsburgh State Police Barracks. Indeed, he testified that he believed that he had been requested 3 times to remove his hands from his pockets so that he could be handcuffed, but that he had refused to do so. He further admitted that he was told that he would be sprayed with pepper spray if he did not remove his hands from his pockets. He recalled a hand being placed on one of his shoulders before the pepper spray hit him in his eyes. Trooper McIntosh, who has been a trooper for 9 years, testified that upon claimant's first refusal to remove his hands from his pocket, he placed a hand on one of the claimant's elbows to attempt to pull one of claimant's hands from his pocket. He asserted that he placed a hand on claimant when he again asked claimant to remove his hands from his pockets and claimant refused to comply. He testified that he advised claimant 3 more times to remove his hands, and in the process of so directing claimant, told claimant he would be sprayed with pepper spray if he refused to comply with the command. Upon claimant's continued refusal, the trooper administered 1 shot of pepper spray to claimant's face. After being sprayed, claimant immediately removed his hands from his pockets. He was then handcuffed and driven to the Plattsburgh police barracks, where a breathalyzer test was administered. All right. Now I'm gonna skip over this footnote. All right, y'all. Now it says at the barracks, claimant was taken to the men's restroom so that he could wash his face and was given wet paper towels to use. In describing the use of force continuum employed by the state police in effecting arrest, Trooper McIntosh described the first 5 degrees in ascending order as number 1, presence of uniform, right? So my question would be, did we see a presence of uniform on those officers that was on the scene with the 9-year-old girl? Yes, we did. Number 2, verbal command, right? So they did give her verbal commands to do something, to put her feet in the car, right? Number 3, placing hands on the arrestee. They did place the hands on the arrestee, right? Number 4, the use of pepper spray, right? So they used pepper spray. They even gave her a warning that they will use it if she don't put her feet in the car, right? Now, referencing the 9-year-old girl that was pepper sprayed by Rochester Police Department. And then number 5 is his physical force and defense tactics, right? It says a 6th-degree deadly physical force may be resorted to only when the exigencies, prescribed by penal law section 35.30 are present, right? So in this particular case, dealing with the 9-year-old girl, physical force was not necessary, right? Now, it says after being arraigned and released on bail, claimant sought medical treatment at the emergency room of the Elizabethtown Community Hospital between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock a.m. on February the 24th, 1994, and was prescribed antibiotics, eye drops. Claimant testified that he saw an eye specialist thereafter. He stated that he was sick for 3 days following the incident and had sore eyes for 8 days. Claimant is not contending that he sustained any permanent injuries. The claimant subsequently commenced the instant action alleging that the use of pepper spray constituted excessive force. Now, the reason we're reading this, right, is because the mother said the same thing, that they use excessive force, right, against her 9-year-old daughter. Now, the court says while there are no reported decisions by state courts in New York regarding the use of pepper spray by police, the claim is nevertheless governed by the general principles applied in cases involving allegations of excessive force. A police officer is authorized to use force that is objectively reasonable under the prevailing circumstances, right? And they cited a couple court cases to go with this, and then they said that liability, however, will attach if excessive force is employed, right? Now it goes on and it says, determining whether a police officer wielded excessive force requires a fact-specific analysis in which an array of factors may be relevant, including the nature of the officer's intrusion, the severity of the crime, whether the suspect posed an immediate threat, and whether the arrest was actively resisted, right? The court must be cautious not to impose upon the strenuous and often dangerous circumstances encountered by police on the streets a standard unduly colored by the calm of the judge's chambers. And then it goes on, the court goes on and says, here, the troopers stopped claimant after observing him committed a traffic violation, right? So again, these police officers showed up on the scene where this 9-year-old girl was because they received a call of a family dispute. I'm just going to say a family dispute for now, right? Because again, you have both sides saying something different. I'm just going to say what the mother said. It was a family dispute. Then the court goes on and says, however, upon questioning claimant and conducting a field sobriety test, the troopers had probable cause to believe that claimant had committed the crime of driving while intoxicated, right? So whatever this family dispute was, right, the Rochester police officers that were on the scene, right, they had believed that it was probable cause to arrest the 9-year-old girl. You know what I mean? Whether, again, we don't know what this family dispute was, because that's what the mother is saying. It was a family dispute. But then you have the police that are saying that the girl threatened to harm herself as well as her mother, right? So the court goes on and says that the court credits the testimony of Trooper McIntosh that claimant was handcuffed when he was transported to the Keysville substation. Although claimant initially cooperated with the troopers at the scene and at the substation, he displayed anger and agitation as he was exiting the substation. He kicked a door at the substation, consistent with standard procedures and reflecting safety concerns in transporting transporting an intoxicated individual. Trooper McIntosh informed claimant that he had to be handcuffed. Claimant thrust his hands into his pockets and refused to cooperate. Despite repeated requests, claimant continued to refuse to remove his hands from his pockets and allowed the trooper to apply handcuffs. When Trooper McIntosh attempted to pull claimant's hands out of his pockets, claimant resisted. The trooper then warned claimant that he would spray his eyes with pepper spray if he did not remove his hands from his pockets. Claimant understood the warning but refused to accede to the command. A brief shot of pepper spray was thus used. Now, again, we're talking about a 9-year-old girl, right? We are talking about a child, right? So a child is different from an adult. We know this, right? So an adult definitely has no excuse, right, not to comply with a command. So that is an argument that can definitely be made, right? Now, in turn, a 9-year-old girl should also know to comply with a command from an adult, also being that a 9-year-old girl is a child. All right, I just want to make this point. Now, the court goes on and says that claimant contends that the use of pepper spray when an immediate or manifest threat of violence by the arrestee does not exist is unreasonable. The Sixth Circuit's decision in Monday versus Ouellette is instructive with regard to such an argument. And it says Monday involved an action premised upon the use of pepper spray by police in order to facilitate moving the plaintiff, who was believed to have taken an overdose of pills, from his home to an hospital. Although the plaintiff had not exhibited hostile actions towards police, he refused to follow the orders even after receiving warnings that pepper spray would be used if he continued not to cooperate. The court found the officer's actions reasonable as a matter of law and thus affirmed summary judgment dismissing the case. While the presence of violent behavior would certainly be a significant factor in justifying the use of pepper spray, the absence of violence does not preclude per se the use of pepper spray as a reasonable exercise of force. Now, I know you all just heard what the court just said. The court just said just because a person is, or a arrestee, right, is non-violent, right, does not mean that pepper spray cannot be used if they're not complying. This is what the court is saying. Then the court goes on and says, claimant also submitted to the court following trial various literature in which the purportedly potential harmful effects of pepper spray are discussed. Defendant's objection to such information as an attempt to interject expert opinion outside the confines of the trial is well taken. Moreover, claimant in the case before the court did not suffer dire or deadly effects from the use of pepper spray. Indeed, he suffered no permanent injuries, and the effects of the spray obscenely subsided within approximately 1 week. The court finds that under the prevailing circumstances, the use of pepper spray did not constitute excessive force. The following are some of the factors influencing the court's conclusion. Claimant displayed irrational behavior. Y'all hear that, right? Potentially, they could say this about a 9-year-old girl because a 9-year-old, according to New York law, can commit a crime. It says including kicking the door, right? They said that she kicked the officer, and refusing to remove his hands from his pockets despite repeated requests. She refused to put her feet in the car. Now it says the handcuffing of claimant from transporting implicated a legitimate safety concern The trooper attempted other reasonable steps to gain claimants' compliance with their order before resorting to pepper spray. Claimant was given ample warning that pepper spray would be used. The use of actual physical force determined by the Division of State Police to be a greater degree of force than the use of pepper spray could well have resulted in a physical injury to one or more of the participants involved in the arrest. And the brief spray did not inflict serious or permanent injuries. The claim is thus dismissed. So my point is this. This is what I'm saying, Rodney. As disturbing as that video is, it is disturbing. It's disturbing to me. Yes, it is, being a father of a 7-year-old girl and the godfather of a 9-year-old girl. Yes, it is disturbing to me. And I know it is to you, Rodney, being a father of 2 young women. You know what I mean? I know it's disturbing. But my point is, as a matter of law, right, I don't see where these officers are going to be. Now, they might be charged with excessive force, right? I don't see where they're going to be convicted of anything. And I'm only saying this based upon the precedent that's already in place. This case from 1998. Now, the difference is we're dealing with a 9-year-old girl versus an adult. But the circumstances are not exactly the same, but there's some similarities there. And the officers did follow those 6 steps. They did. So what's your thoughts, Rodney?
Well, if it depends on what attorney the mother gets. If I was speaking on behalf of the lady and the 9-year-old girl and her family, I would destroy that lawsuit right there. This case right here, I'd destroy it. They would be found guilty and they would lose. So again, it's going to be based on what claims she making and who's making those claims. Because to me, this case virtually has nothing to do with what happened. Because the reason why I'm saying it is because, one, the guy was intoxicated and the police officer said, "We place you under arrest." At what point did the police officers tell the young lady she was under arrest? Why didn't the police have the girl mother present? So to me, the little girl, I would be kicking the same thing, because I would be thinking, I'm being kidnapped. Based on the culture today with the police officers and those people who look like us, it is no way that the police can be excused for treating a 9-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old girl in that manner. And we both know damn well they would not have treated or sprayed a 9-year-old white girl. You see what I'm saying? So that discretion is biased, is racist, is racial on its face. Because I saw 4 or 5 big white officers and 1 little black girl who was begging for her father. They should have stopped right there. They're gonna tell me that 4 grown, look like over 200-pound white men can't handle a 9-year-old girl in handcuffs without pepper spraying? That's bullshit.
All right.
In his face. Despite what the case law say, the little girl wasn't drunk. I probably would have thought they was kidnapping me, and she probably thought the same thing. If they go on and talk about the pepper spray, they may lose. We talking about emotional distress on a developing 9-year-old mind. That's what we did. An undeveloped 9-year-old mind with police officers, and I know damn well that she done saw abuse, the George Floyd case. We done saw abuse by white officers versus black individuals. So she is already in her subconscious mind that she doesn't trust police officers. It's in the culture. That's why defunding the police is good, because the woman would have had, if police are defunded to a point where if you have a dispute, a domestic dispute, and the domestic dispute was it with the mother and the father, she didn't even call the police on who she was having a dispute with. She called the police according to them on their daughter on a medical issue. So therefore, where is the medical division in the Rochester police to handle children who parents claim that their child is having a medical issue. Why is the police dead, period?
All right, let me cut in with this, Rodney, because I'm like this. I do believe you have a strong defense in what you say. I believe it's a strong defense, but I must say this, that in my opinion, right, the young lady having a mental episode is similar to a person being intoxicated by alcohol, because when an adult is intoxicated by alcohol, right, they're not in their sane mind the same way a child or any individual that's having a mental episode can be. So to me, right, there is a comparison between this case and that situation, minus the fact we're dealing with an adult versus a child. Now, I will say this. I do believe that if it was a 9-year-old white girl, there's a great possibility, right, that she wouldn't have been pepper sprayed. Again, my wife made a great point. All they had to do was pull the girl arms and just pull her in the car and close the door. They could have easily done that. But all I'm trying to show is that the law provides a broad spectrum of discretion that they have in how to use what they consider to be non-lethal force. And then as far as like defunding the police, right, I totally disagree with you on that. I gotta say that I don't believe in defunding the police at all. You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe there should be a unit within the police department that specialize in dealing with people that are having mental episodes, but I don't believe that actually taking money from their budget is the solution, because if we defund the police, in my opinion, the neighborhoods that have the most crime is going to be the ones that's most negatively affected by that type of action. That's what I believe.
And I'm gonna explain why I disagree, because defunding the police, right? The police officers, state police should not have a division dealing with mental people because they're not qualified to do that, right? Defunding the police means if you look at the police budget right now, right? How much money is spent on firearms? Why is it that the police can outgun their masters? We, the people, are their masters. They are the servants. Why do the servants outgun their masters? They have way too much money in their department, because if you defund the police, it won't have zero effect on policing the community. They're using that as a poor excuse not to be defunded. They waste millions upon millions upon millions of dollars upon artillery to just destroy the community that they took an oath to the Constitution to protect and serve. So they don't need a military budget. They don't need tanks. You see what I'm saying? You know, they don't need all the money that they waste in all those unions and all that stuff. They don't need all that money. Just like the Department of Defense don't need all that money to police the world. The police officers don't need all that money to do their job, to walk the beat, to protect the people, to make the community safe. They don't need all that money for that, because I'm gonna tell you why. The communities was much safer when they had a smaller budget and they had a better relationship with the people they serve. But we have police officers in our neighborhood growing up as a child who was friendly. They had 38s, that's it. And they was friendly, and our community wasn't rowdy the way that it's rowdy now. And the police officers have all those weapons, right? And the communities are still violent. They're more violent, and they come in and instigate with their weaponry. You know, they don't teach, they need to reach through. When I say defund the police, I'm saying taking the money that's spent on the police to police the communities can stay the same. All other bits of the money should be money to deal with building a better relationship with the people. And also it should be a separate division with professionals who went to school to deal with mental issues of children. Now, nowhere in that lawsuit or nowhere in in that case law or the video where the girl was drunk. So relating a young 9-year-old girl acting the way she was acting versus a person that was intoxicated, the reason why they're not the same is because the person self-inflicted his mental stress, which is being drunk. He went to the liquor store, as he said, and drank 6 bottles of beer. That's self-inflicted. So he was the cause, he contributed to the cause in which he was pepper sprayed by being drunk. What did the little girl do to contribute to that negligence that the police officers are now being thrust under when she's afraid? Her mother wasn't there. Her father, because if her mother would have been there, it wouldn't have went down like that. They was videotaping the girl, and you notice how they blocked her face out. They protected her image, which is what other people should do whenever you use people's images. I'm just branching that from the other videos that we done, where how you saw notice how her image was blocked. They might have blocked because she was underage. But the point of what I'm saying is that the little girl didn't have her parents around. The culture of the way the police officers have been treating people that look like you and I is well known and documented. I guarantee you, your 7-year-old understands about the way police officers treat Black folks. You know what I'm saying? Most children understand that. They understand the George Floyd. They understand all that. You haven't seen one time where police officers treated a white suspect in the same manner, under the same conditions as they treat Black folks. So the girl could have been under the impression that she was being kidnapped, arrested for what? Who said that she made a threat? The police officer. Do you know how many times the police officer twist and change the story to make their position better so they won't get fired? You know what I'm saying? Her mother didn't say that. Her mother didn't say where her daughter threatened me and threatened herself. That wasn't said, but yet we see a police officer that made that statement, and we all know police officers will make statements to cover their ass. Why? Because they're trained to do that. So to me, he was just following protocol to just cover his butt by saying that they made a threat that to harm herself and her mother in order to protect themselves for what they did in the video. Go ahead.
No, I ain't gonna cut you off. I want to say, well, can I say this? Now, we really don't know exactly what was said, because one thing that wasn't released, right, completely, was the phone call. So we don't know that. That's why I'm like, I'm not trusting what neither side is saying. I don't really trust what the mother is saying, and I don't trust what the police is saying. I want to hear what was said when the phone call was made.
Well, let's take, I ain't mean to cut it, but let's take it to where the mother did say that. The mother said, well, my 9-year-old daughter threatened me and threatened herself.
That's a crime. Threatening is a crime. Now,
okay. Threatening is a crime, but how many people go to jail for threats? How many people get arrested for threats? That's just an excuse. You know what I'm saying? But hold on, Rodney. A deadly threat.
Yeah, but threatening to harm yourself, that is a deadly threat. Threatening harm to yourself and your mother, that's a deadly threat.
So threatening to harm is not the same as threatening to kill. I'm gonna kill you. That's the threat to kill. I'm gonna whoop you. That's a threat to whoop. That's a threat to harm. So those are the differences. You know what I'm saying? So harm and kill is two different things. You never go to jail for I never seen somebody murder harm. You know what I'm saying? It's kill and then it's harm. You can harm somebody, and then as a result of them being harmed and injured, they could die.
But check this out.
They kill somebody.
I have it on the screen.
I see.
Define harm. Yeah, harm is to cause physical injury the same way as killing somebody.
Where does it say kill right there? It doesn't say nowhere on there.
But it's still physical injury. It's still an injury.
But it's not kill. So a 9-year-old. So the police officer gonna tell me that a 9-year-old. Now if she'd have said my 9-year-old was threatening me with a knife, threatening me with a gun, that's a different issue. But just threatening me, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? I can't even allow that type of analyzation to support the police officer's action.
Well,
you know
okay, but hold on, Rodney, hold on. If that's the case, then the mother shouldn't have called the police from the get-go. Because if it's not that serious, she shouldn't have called the police anyways.
I agree with that, but she did. I agree with that. I told her she shouldn't.
Whose fault is it? It sounds like it's the mother's fault to me.
It doesn't matter, but the police are there to protect and serve. The police are not there to come there and abuse that child the way that they did. Period. They was not there. Whenever the police, the mother should have been there. The father should have been there. Why was they putting the little girl in the car? For what reason without the mother and father there? What crime did she commit? Did the mother have to press charges? Did the mother say, okay, I'm pressing charges, lock her ass up? The mother didn't say that. And I don't even have to look at anything else. I know the mother didn't say, I'm pressing charges, because if they say, if you threaten me, right, I call the police. Right. Hey, keep threatening me, right? They're gonna come and say, well, Mr. Gray, do you want to press charges? Before they lock you up. They're not gonna lock you up and then say, Mr. Gray, do you want to press charges? Unless they get there, you ripping and rowdy and trying to attack them. At a 40-year-old, 6'3",
right,
20-some pounds.
But see, I agree with you.
However tall she was, that little weight, she's no physical threat with nothing in her hand. She's not Bruce Lee.
Yeah, but let me say this. To me, with the information that we have now, is still not enough information to give an exact, to me, to give a bona fide opinion outside of, because I'm like this. We don't know what was said during the phone call. We don't even know where the mother was, because I'm like this. The mother could have been outside. She just within the scope of the camera.
Nah, the mother.
Well, that's what the mother is saying. I'm telling you, I don't trust neither side. I want to see more facts.
No way.
I don't trust what the mother's saying, and I don't trust what the cop's saying either.
There's no way that a mother will sit there and you didn't hear the mother in the video nowhere. There's no way the mother seen that. She probably saw it.
Now that's possible.
It's no way.
That's possible what you're saying.
It's no way that a mother will watch a child, watch a police officer handle their baby like that, no matter what that baby did.
See, I don't know.
The baby, that 9-year-old baby will have to have done something physically, a stab or shot or something, in order for. I'm gonna use your logic though, Rodney. If that's the case, then why would a mother, right, knowing the climate of the police department and how they treat black people, right? Why would the mother call the police from the get-go just because she, quote unquote, threatened harm? Why would she call them anyway? She could have dealt with that on her own, knowing that her daughter could end up dead, messing around with the police. She said that the daughter was having a mental episode.
So why didn't she call the hospital? Why didn't she call the physician?
What's the mental episode that she had before that? We don't know, because if you call a hospital, they're gonna call the police because there's nothing in place for them to call between the police and the hospital. It should be another division funded by all that extra money that the police are wasting to fit that gap between the police and the hospital. Because the hospital be like, what are you calling me for? The police officers are like, they're not equipped to handle it, so they need something in between the hospital and the police station. And that's where that money need to come from, the police department, because they're overly funded and they can still do the same thing they're doing to the community right now because they've done it in the past.
Now I can agree to that, and I'm glad you clarified the defund the police thing. I really am, because I'm
not saying get rid of police.
Because I'm like, hey,
Rodney,
you got a lot of stuff to lose, just like I do. I'm sure you don't want the police gone. You know what I'm saying?
No, but
I'm glad you clarified it. Some of the funds should be reallocated towards mental health agents, I guess is a good way to put it.
I agree.
I can understand that.
Train mental health people. And those mental health, now, if those mental health people came, you know what I'm saying, I guarantee you it may not have been a spray. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to spray a 9-year-old girl. You can grab a little girl.
Yeah, see, hey, Rodney, and that's why I made it clear.
Can handle another 9. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Rodney, that's why I agree. My wife, I'm saying, she got real heated about it because she don't even like looking at stuff like this because she get real worked up about it. She got heated about it when we was talking about it.
I'm agreeing now.
And I agree with
it. Now I'm gonna flip it on you, and don't take this the wrong way.
Right.
Your little precious baby at 9 years old, would you give a damn what your little 9-year-old daughter did, and you see your 9-year-old daughter treated like that, and your mother and you wasn't around? Would you even think about that? Would you talk about, let me read case law, because I want to make sure that the police officer is right for trading your little precious, go get it, that little precious pretty 9-year-old. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna want to hit because you know your daughter.
I agree. But let me say, hey, Rodney, no, hey, Rodney,
and say, I'm gonna kill you, Daddy. I'm gonna kill you, Mommy. And then your mother, your wife get get a little nervous because you at work and say and make the mistake and call the police. You're not gonna want to hear what happened.
I agree. Let me say this, Rodney. I agree with you. I agree with you from that standpoint. But I must say, and I think all parents should do this, right? I know, Rodney, I know that you talk to your daughters about stuff as they were growing up. I know you did, just like I talk to my daughters, and I'm like this. First of all, I need you to calm down. I always tell them this. You gotta calm down. For us to talk, you're gonna have to calm down. My thing is this: it's always better to just comply, right? To avoid stuff like that. If things happen, it makes you look that much better if it has to go to court.
Absolutely.
It just does.
I agree.
Now, I understand we're dealing with a 9-year-old child, but I talked to my 9-year-old about this. I talked to my 7-year-old about this. I'm like, you know what I mean? Just comply with what the officer's saying and let me deal with it.
I totally agree. And that comes to what we talked about in a couple of videos ago, parenting. You know what I'm saying? They just don't know.
Yeah. It does.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know. So the first thing that they do, the first thing we was taught growing up is to call the police. You feel what I'm saying? And that was a huge mistake on her behalf. Why she called the police? I don't know. Would I have called the police on I mean, what the hell you doing call the police? Just like I agree with what you said. You know the culture. You know what's going on. What the hell you call the police?
So why call them? Yeah, exactly.
What are you calling them for? You know, but the fact that she called them, do they still not have a duty to not to overstep their I think they overstep their boundaries. You know, the woman say, I'm gonna warn you again, I'm gonna put pepper spray in your eyes if you don't comply. Even though she made the statement, she's talking to a 9-year-old. They didn't even have to, once the girl was in handcuffs, they didn't have to put her in the car. He said, we're gonna keep you here, we're gonna go get your mother, we're gonna go get your father, we're gonna straighten this out. That's how police officers should have handled it. They shouldn't have been trying to put it, what, they're gonna go book her Dano? What you gonna book her Dano? Go
I
put
agree.
fingerprint her? You know,
let me say this, Rodney. Let me say this. I agree with you. I do. I feel like it could have been handled differently, and I agree with you. Just me knowing officers in our community, right? I know they would have handled it differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm dealing with the law. I'm dealing with their policies. You know this, Rodney. Selective enforcement. They have a broad range of discretion.
Is correct. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that. You know, with those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I agree with that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Those and all of them was followed properly by the police officer. But the fact that they used the discretion to do what they did to that little girl is uncalled for. That's an abuse of discretion. That's what they call it, abuse of power, and that's what they did.
Maybe they should raise that as a defense.
That's right there. Abuse.
Yeah, based upon her age. But let me say this though, Rodney. I got to throw this back out there. An intoxicated adult, to me, is because an intoxicated adult can be very irritable and aggravated, the same way as someone dealing with mental health. You see what I'm saying?
Person can kill you. A mental health person is dangerous because it's more dangerous, in my opinion, because the alcohol will wear off. You know,
that's true. But the mental health issue is still there.
But it's tough to sleep off that mental illness that puts you in a position to do harm. You feel what I'm saying? So I get that point. That's a well-founded point. But at the same time, if a 9-year-old can be as crazy as they want to be, I'm not sure a 9-year-old can defeat 4 grown men.
Agreed. I agree.
9-year-old girl at that.
I agree. That's why they could have pulled her in the car. That's why, man, when my wife said that, I'm like, yeah, I agree. But see, let me tell you, she was getting mad at me because I'm still saying what the officers were following. They were following their policies and procedures within the scope of the law. She didn't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? But at the end, when she calmed down, she had to acknowledge when I showed her what I'm talking about, that what I'm saying is true. Now, honestly, they might win it. I'm just saying, based upon the precedent that exists, it seems like it's a little difficult to win because check this out, Rodney. What I have up on the screen is the same case, and it went to the appellate division. So it went from the court of claims to the appellate division the next year, 1999, and they lost again in the appellate division, and the court brought up the same reasoning. You know, like basically the use of pepper spray, like right here it says the use of pepper spray as a state police compliance technique was described by McIntosh, and basically level 4 use of force defensive tactic. And they basically broke down how this, he followed the 6 steps. And I'm like, we both agreed that's what we saw. So I'm kind of like, I don't know how they're gonna prove excessive force. They might be able to get something dealing with like, what you said mental. You said
I wouldn't deal with the pepper spray, because if I was speaking on their behalf, I would do my research and know not to bring up the pepper spray was the cause of the injury. I would say the mental anguish and the overaggression and the misuse of their power and their discretion caused my daughter psychological trauma.
Good point.
They can't get past that.
Good point.
You know what I'm saying? Mental anguish of developing young mind that you destroy or altered because of this experience, this negative bad experience that you caused. Put the pepper spray aside, because I'm gonna read this case. You know what I'm saying? Before I attack, I'm gonna read that joint. So I'm not even mentioning the pepper spray. I'm gonna mention as a result of you abusing your discretion, and then I'm gonna bring up George Floyd. I'm gonna bring up all these black joints, and I'm gonna bring up the white joints where the white boy down South Carolina went and smashed the church. They took him to Burger King.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's
they
true.
Took him to Burger King after
they did. Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So I bring all that up. They owe me so much money, it'd be pathetic. You know, so if I was me speaking on their behalf.
Well, let me say this, Rod. Let me say, I didn't cut you off. I do believe, like, the officers were suspended. I believe the article said, I think one of them was suspended.
And one was on administrative, and one was doing something else.
Right. Like, I don't believe they're going to be brought up on criminal charges, and if they try, the grand jury is going to dismiss it.
I don't think they committed a crime.
But the family may get some. They may get some. They might get a judgment as far as money. They might get money. It's
you already know if police officers don't get charged for murder, you didn't know damn well they're not gonna get charged for pepper spray. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. They can pepper spray a 2-year-old black child. You know what I'm saying? The 2-year-old cried too much. You know what I'm saying? There's no way they're gonna get charged for pepper spraying anybody that look like you and I. You know what I'm saying? If they don't get charged for the murder of a person that look like you and I. So we have to be realistic.
I don't know though, right? I don't know about that. I think I took it down, but remember, New York says that starting at age 7. So if the child is younger than age 7, then there's no way they can be charged with committing the crime.
So a 7-year-old. Okay, so a 7-year-old, because a 2-year-old really, I was examining the 2-year-old can't do nothing but shit their pants and talk trash. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anybody, a young baby, anything like that, you don't, and those guys look big in that video. They look bigger like your size and my size. So you're gonna tell me one of them can't handle a 9-year-old child, even if the 9-year-old could be 5 feet tall. And how many 9-year-olds are 5 feet tall? Not that many. So let's say a 9-year-old, if she was 5 feet tall and was able to bench press 100 pounds at 9, and we know most 9-year-olds can't do that. But let's imagine this little girl was 9 years old, 5 feet tall, and could bench press 150 pounds. So you gonna tell me one or two of those big guys you saw in the video couldn't grab her? They ain't even handcuffed. Look, little girl, bring your ass over here. You know what I'm saying? They could have took their jacket off and put the straight. Why didn't they straight jacket her?
Well, let me tell you this, and then I'm gonna tell you what else I hit my wife with. She was getting a little irritated with me last night about this. I said, now, I know how my people are, right? I say now, the officers would have yanked her arms and pulled her in that car, then they still would have said it was excessive force. They would have said he ain't had to yank her like that, because this is what black people do.
That would lose. Okay, yanking her arm, they would have to show her arm was broke. You know what I'm saying? So yanking her arm, pulling her, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you have to shock the conscience of a child to get their attention, especially nowadays, because the parents all parents don't raise children the way that they ought to. So something you have to shock the conscience, grab them, shake them. You know what I'm saying? And then when they sue for that, they're gonna lose.
But check this out, though, Rod. But Rod, you're reasonable, just like I am. A lot of our people, they're not reasonable. That cop could have still pulled her in the car, and they still would have sat there and said that was excessive. If it was a white girl, they wouldn't have done that. Now, I can understand people making an argument with the pepper spray. I can understand that they probably wouldn't have pepper sprayed a white girl. I can actually see that, right? But we know how people are, man. Even if they would have pulled the girl arm, they would have made a big deal out of that.
I agree. Yeah, they would have did that. But with the white girl, they wouldn't have offered pepper spray. They would have offered peppermint. I give you a peppermint if you the car and do the right thing. Now, come on now. We don't want to. Come on, Sally Mae. Get your peppermint, lollipop, and a soda pop. Get on in the car and calm down. That's what would have happened if it was transparent, but not peppermint. We got pepper spray. So that's just the culture that we in with the police officers that exist right now. Their mind state. The police officers' minds, they need to be trained mentally, and somehow we have to root out those who have bad intent. That's all, because all police officers are not bad. I had uncles, people in my family, military, police officers, and they're not bad. I even know white. I've been pulled over by white police officers who was more friendly than somebody look like me that pulled me over. You know, so it's just the mindset of the officer. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying?
I agree. And I was being the ass. Check this out, man. I was being the ass. I was intoxicated. I was being the ass, man. The Maryland State Trooper was professional the whole time. He was, you know, he was being real calm and patient with me. I was being the ass, man. I agree. Yeah. And it could have been a lot worse than it was, but he didn't take it there. Yeah,
is that? And I had, and then just like I had the white boy that was friendly, I had a white boy unnecessarily rough me, and I had a black guy that was friendly, and I had black. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the mindset. So that's letting you know it's not a black and a white completely thing. When you, it's not.
Hey, Rodney, let me cut you off, but I want to plug this because I think we should make it clear, like here in the DMV, we have a lot of black officers. Because I know, like in certain places, I want to say like where I think it was not George Floyd. God, one of the guys that got gunned down by the cops, they were talking about how the area, it's in St. Louis area, but they were talking about how most of the police, like the population is like 60% black, but most of the police officers are white. But I'm like, here in the DMV, we probably have at least half the police force is black. Yeah. So it's very common for us to see black officers here. Right. Very common. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're everywhere, undercover and in uniform.
Yeah, right.
But I just wanted to make that clear. But I mean,
we fortunate in this area because we do have black cops, but we do have the old Ice Cube joke, black police showing out for the white cops. I experienced that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
You know what I'm saying? I had to use my pen against one of a black officer. I think I told you about it in Prince George's County. He was real aggressive, rough. He didn't rough me up, but he roughed my car up. I'm sitting in the car. I told you about that when I went down there to file the charges, all of them calling and doing, going through all that. So you do have some that are asshole. He looked just like me. Well, he might have been my cousin. He looked so much like me. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't act as if. I tried to explain to him. He just wasn't having it. Some of them just don't have it. Some of them just do. So to me, it's the mindset, the training, and it's the integrity of the police officer in and of itself. It doesn't make a difference, white or black. I had a lot of white officers that pulled me over. I was so afraid, and they were just, and I'm talking about down south. I'm talking about down south. They just as friendly as they want to be. Right. You know what I'm saying? So you just run into that bad apple sometimes. The matter of fact, it's a bad seed in the apple.
Right. I agree. I agree.
So I don't agree that police officers or police stations should be defunded to the point where they can't do their job. You know, I believe they should be defunded and then incorporated with some help so they can do their job better. You know, I don't believe that we should take away the police officers because the culture and the education system, our society won't survive the way that we're being taught. So
I agree.
There's a need for that. You know,
hey, Rodney, I want to say this too. Thank God for body cam. I think that was the best thing the Obama administration did, because almost everything else this man did, I don't agree with. But I agree with the whole body cam. So I got to thank President Barack Obama for that.
Absolutely.
That's a necessity. You know, and hopefully more facts come out with this case, because I'm really curious about the actual 911 call. Like, I'm really curious about it, even the body cam of when they confronted the mom. Because one of them had to confront the mom. I'm curious, you know what I mean? Because all of that will help us to get a better understanding of everything that took place.
And just to show you how the mother could be slipping, right? When she called the police officers, why wasn't she present when all that was going on? When she knew the police officers was called on her daughter because she called her? Why wasn't she around to see what was going on with her daughter? Why did she have to see it on video like everybody else? Why did she say that she didn't know that they was gonna be treated like that? Why did she intervene? Where was she at? You know what I'm saying? All that to me is parenting. It's parenting. Where was the mother? You know what I'm saying? Where was the father, whether it was stepfather or what, you know what I'm saying, or her maternal father? We don't know the answer to these questions. When she said, I want my father, or dad, whatever she was saying, why didn't they just stop it right there and go get the parent, one or the other, mother or father? I think that would have calmed the whole situation down right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
why
because I would be telling my child to calm down.
Yeah.
Listen to me, calm down. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just comply and let me
that's what the
deal
officers,
with it.
And that's the mistake. Yeah. Earlier, I mentioned the mistake that the mother should have made. Why wasn't she there? Where was she at when she called the police? She should have been there to see what was going on. That's the mistake the mother did. The police officers, in my opinion, made a mistake because once they had the girl handcuffed and she was saying, where's my father? Where's my father? To me, was no need to put her in the car. For what? You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
At that point in time, she's in handcuffs. She's not going anywhere. She's not running. Keep her right there. Go get her parents and handle it like a public servant should. You know what I'm saying? A public servant is supposed to make sure the public is safe. So you may be a private citizen, but when you call those agencies, you become public.
Hey, you hear me, Rodney?
Yeah, peace officer.
Peace officer.
Exactly, because that's what their oath office say.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. So I think both sides liability lay on both sides.
I agree. And actually, I think this might be a good point to end this particular broadcast. Until we get more, I'm hoping that we get more information on this in the upcoming weeks, so we can discuss this in more depth and maybe even do this on a live. Because I know we've been receiving requests that we do live shows soon. So
and that's the peace officer, a peace officer, as a sheriff or a police officer. Now, I don't like police officers. Yep. Now, if she really understood the law, she would have called the sheriff. You know what I'm saying? Because the sheriff has the duty to protect and serve, not a police officer. You know, that's just FYI. You know what I'm saying? So if you have an issue in Montgomery County, Prince George's County, anything like that, call your sheriff's department. If you have an issue with the Prince George's County Police or Montgomery County Police and they getting rowdy, call your sheriff officer who you vote. Call your sheriff to check them.
Fact.
That's civics.
That's like the sheriff can carry their pistol anywhere and everywhere in the county, but I noticed the police officers, whenever the county police go down to the jail, they gotta turn their pistols in. They can't carry no guns in that county jail. Only the sheriff does.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Or the court building.
Yeah, or the court building. Yep, only the sheriff.
Because the sheriff is your elected. When the last time you voted for a captain of police or a lieutenant of police? You don't.
Yeah, they get appointed.
But when do you vote for a sheriff? You do every session, or whenever what is 2-4 years, whenever that period come up, you vote for your sheriff. So that is your protection. That's your peace officer that I would contact under the Constitution and the understanding of civics. If I have any issue, I would contact my local sheriff, Andy Griffin. We can close with that.
All right, I agree, man. This was a hot show. Man, I look forward to more facts coming out so we can discuss this again, Rodney. This was fire, man. And we'd like to thank everybody for listening. Please share, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Peace.